My name is Björk, and your television is just about to explode! Well, I became famous in Iceland when I was 11, and because I sang on a record, and I hated it. I hated it so much. And I got all this money and all these children who really wanted to be my friends, and I was on the cover of all the magazine, and I hated it. Mostly because I didn't write the songs myself. I only wrote one song, and I was only singing. So I felt very guilty, like I was cheating, you know? So what I did is for 17 years, I played with all these different people and bands, and I learned a lot of things, and I wrote songs with them about life today and about things today, and I've learned so many things. I've done film music, experimental music, jazz music, musical theater, I've been a punk band, I've been in a pop band, all those different things. I've been a singer, I've been a producer, I've been a keyboardist, all those different things. Little, I decided to write the perfect pop song that everybody can like. Not because I want to be famous or control freak or anything, but because I think people need the perfect pop song. I want the nurses, I want the doctors, I want the dentists, I want the school teachers, I want the mountain climbers, I want the little children and the old sad ladies to hear that perfect pop song that makes them happy. Iceland was a very big decision for me. Pride, mission to London. I became an Icelandic immigrant in England. Conscious decision. When I started audition for my band, I found myself, after watching many hundreds of people play, with a group of immigrants. Iran, India, Turkey, same kids. And all these people were very proud of where they come from. Fallegar og stóra. Lyric in 2 different languages is never the same. Afslappar. I start in Icelandic and I juggle it into English and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Og við erum búin að vinna mikið í dag. And then in the end you got 2 very independent lyrics that are different, but they focus on the same emotion. Yeah, it was probably the biggest sacrifice I have ever made in my life, was to leave Iceland, and also I had to take my kid with me, so I was pulling him away from all his friends and everything. So it was a very, very big step, and I thought I would never do it because I would want to live there forever, but it was a combination of things. Because I decided to do my album, which was a very big decision. But finally, when I had decided, I decided the only way I would do it was to do it the best, 197% possible. So I would do everything for it. I would give it the best engineers, the best everything, the best mastering man, the best musician, the best studio, the best everything. And just the same way as I fight for my kid. So to do this, the only way was to go to a cosmopolitan city. And London happens to be closest to Iceland. It's only 2 hours in airplane from Iceland. I came to London and I couldn't believe that you can't just stand up and walk out of it. You can even go on a train or a car and you have to travel for hours and you're still inside the city. And this completely freaked me out. I was so claustrophobic and I got so obsessed with oxygen. I couldn't breathe and I was trying to touch the buildings and scrape off the grease and try to get in touch with things. And it was very scary. But then I learned to relax all about it. And I find it kind of kinky. But I don't regret it, you know, because I'm probably more Icelandic in London, I mean, compared to all the foreigners, obviously, than I am in Iceland. Debut was very much for me like a little virgin trying to express herself. I mean, musically, a virgin. And that's why I called it that, debut, even though some people knew that I'd been around for years and thought I was taking the piss or something. But for me, it was very much like the first time my songs that I'd kept like in darkness and locked in my little diaries only to be seen by myself. The first time they went out and sort of had to figure out a life of their own and how to survive. Debut was such a surprise how big it became and how many people liked it, because it was probably the most personal thing I've ever done in my life, like very private, because I was like opening my diary, and became probably the most social extrovert thing I'd ever done, because suddenly everybody noticed me, and it was very strange. But now I'm doing my second album, and I think the reason why people liked my last album was because I wasn't trying to please anyone. And the thing is, if you don't try to please anyone, there's like a very funny rule. I have learned a lesson, that if you don't please anyone, you have a slight chance of pleasing everyone. But if you try to please just one person, or even 10 people, if you try to please them, you won't please anyone. It sounds a bit like stupid, but it is actually the truth. It's oh so quiet. It's oh so still. So peaceful until I guess the biggest difference between debut and post is that debut were all songs I wrote over a 10-year period, all in my house in Iceland after my son had gone to bed. So they were quite private and intimate, like little experiments, and more like a diary thing, you know, something in order to keep you sane, rather than you want to tell the whole world about it. You fall in love, simple, the sky up above, simple is caving in. Wow! This album is, on the contrary, I moved to England 2 years ago, and all the songs on this album are written since then. So they're all written with in mind that other people will hear them. They are more, not as shy and introvert, they're probably more sort of conscious and more confident.
So nuts about a guy you wanna love, you wanna cry, you cross your heart and hope to die till it's over.
Now I can make very angry songs, I can make very happy songs, very sad songs, very delicate songs, very vulnerable songs, very strong, aggressive songs, and all those different things. And I think in that sense, Post is a lot better than Debut. In a way, Post is quite brave, because it's the girl who left home and is trying out all these brand new things she's never tried before, and tasting all those cities, and meeting all these lunatics, and best of all, meeting all the lunatics like herself, you know, because there aren't that many back in Iceland, and communicating with all them and figuring out there are more people out there who feel like her, and it's just, it's definitely like a brave album, but at the same time kind of scary. Post is more scary than Debut, because I'm definitely jumping off more cliffs this time around.
I played dead. It stops the sting. I played dead.
First I was going to do this album like on my own, like produce it on my own, and I thought it was a correct way to do it. Then I started getting a bit scared and kind of it's getting all bit too much for me. So I asked Nelly Hooper, who produced my debut album, to produce this album for me. He refused. He said it was ridiculous that I could do it on my own and I should do it on my own. And then in the end, I contacted him again and said it was too soon for me to do it on my own, and he agreed to be my safety net.
I miss you, but I haven't met you yet. So special, but it hasn't happened yet. You are gorgeous, but I haven't met you yet.
When we went to Bahamas to record the album, he had a surprise for me. He prepared, and he said, you know, picked me up in a car one morning, took me to this cave, big cave which was there, and kind of gave me like a microphone and headphones with a very, very long lead. And I told me to go into the cave, and there was absolutely no light in there, and I climbed into it, and then the song came in the headphones and all the music, and I sang the song, like the lyric, and while I crawl into the unknown, cover me, I'm going into for mystery, cover me. And like if something went wrong, I was supposed to pull the lead, and they would come and get me. And they were outside, like in the night, with headphones and little mixing desk, listening to it. And then suddenly I heard all these beautiful noises, and then I was actually standing on the top of a little cliff with sort of like a canyon in front of me, like 4 meters down, just on the edge, with the microphone, and I realized all the little noises were actually bats, hundreds of bats, kind of like going past me. So they made all these beautiful little like little noises, and they are on the record.
And if you can play